Had cancer in the last 2 to 5 years. And if they say yes, there's no problem. You just write it down. But typically when I book an appointment, I got notes on there. Any heart attack, cancer, or stroke in the last 2 to 5 years? Yes. Okay, tell me a little bit about that, just so I can be better prepared and have the right proper plans prepared for you. Because I want to honor that time of 15 minutes. Okay, yeah, it's going to be 15 minutes because I got to, listen, typically it takes 15 minutes for me to qualify you and get you the information. Anytime it's a little longer is because you have a bunch of questions, which I'm happy to answer. So that way when you get in the house in 15 minutes coming and looking at you, which they never do, they're like, hey, listen, you did ask me a bunch of questions, but it didn't take me long to qualify. That's just rapid. You know what I mean? But that's kind of how I'm doing in my appointments. And then when I get to the end, I'm pretty sure everybody's given a confirmation number. And I'm pretty sure everybody's saying something along these lines. I hear Corey. Corey says, when I come by, will the number of the house be on a mailbox or on the door? Right? That's just letting them know that he's coming out. Me, I typically say, when I come by, should I park on the street or is there a driveway to pull in? Literally, that's only the psychology of them seeing and visualizing us coming to the house. So they don't think it's a phone appointment, or they're less likely to no-show you. Sometimes they even tell you, oh man, yeah, street parking, but it's barely hard to park on here. You got to park in the right end across the street. Or it's a driveway, but you got to pull all the way into the driveway and then you'll see my mailbox. Those are little things, because you'll start realizing those little things that you forget to do, and it seems so small, you'll have 10 appointments in a day and only sit with 2. Just those little things. But you start adding those little things in there and your appointments will stick a little bit more, right? And guess what? You won't waste time with people that you don't need to waste time with. Because sometimes you get a quick set and a quick appointment book, and if you would have asked a little more questions, they would have hung up on you. Just being real. Sometimes you book an appointment that wasn't really an appointment, and if you had asked a few more questions, they would have got tired of playing that game and would have hung up on you. So don't be afraid to get hung up on. I think if anything I can take away from what we just talked about, Calvin, is don't be afraid to get hung up on, guys. Don't be afraid to scare a client away, because you can't scare a client away. You can't scare somebody that's interested away. It's either they're interested or not. So take a little bit more time to figure out if they're really interested. Ask a few more questions when you're booking your appointments, because if they're not interested, they'll get tired of playing the game with you and they'll hang up. And if they are interested, they're going to answer the questions because all the questions are relevant to getting them the coverage that they're actually looking for. I hope that helped. Anybody else want to add anything to that, or kind of want me to go a little bit more in depth or elaborate more on that? Or just anybody else have, for anybody that came to the call a little bit later, this call right here, it's just to kind of have like a intimate session where we can kind of help people with things they're struggling with or they're having success with. So if it's something that you're having success with, please share it. Let's talk a little bit about it so that it can be open to the group. And if it's something that you're struggling with a little bit, or you just overcame or you need overcoming, let's talk about it so that we can spread it to the group.
Someone has a question.
I see.
Michael Powell asked, when can someone get hired?
Michael who?
Powell.
Okay.
Michael.
Is he a part of our agency? So Michael, if you're on this call, you're not a part of our agency. The person that invited you to this call, let's get you connected to Genesis, or get you, so that way she can get you the study material and get you your license, because none of these things that we're talking about right here really make sense until you get that license. So the steps are: get the license, get your carriers, get with me. Let's put a plan together. Get with your upline. Let's put a plan together for you to go out and do the 3 things that we do to be successful: buy leads, book appointments, and help families. It's really simple.
Let me say something real quick.
Sure.
Okay, Michael. Hey, Michael, I'm Genesis. Go over to the chat. Everybody, go over to the chat. I added our website on there. On our website, you'll have agent tools, cheat sheets, dial trackers, carrier contact information. If you go on this website right on your phone and you have to call Americo, it'll start calling Americo right away for you. But also you'll see a schedule a call link. I did post this here on the, Abdul posted it. You could schedule a call with me. I'm open tomorrow and any other Monday through Friday, I'm open, but schedule a call with me and I could see where you're at in the process and answer any questions that you have.
All right, so anybody else that have any questions about getting started, that's how you do it. But more so, I want to use this for any struggles. Anybody else have any struggles? Anybody? If not, I'm just going to start looking at you guys and just kind of having a conversation with you and kind of juice it up a little bit. So if anybody have a question, right now I see in front of me Grant. Yep. Anybody else have any questions?
What's up, man?
What's up, brother? Just good to see your face, man. So I had.
All right, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
To see you. Always good to see you. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
I'm up here calling, trying to book these appointments, man. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. So I'm gonna keep this call brief, but I want to make sure that we're effective. Grant, you've been around a while. You deal with some things. You overcame some things. But I kind of want to ask you a question. I want you to give me one or both. Give me one thing that is one thing that's really going well for you in your business that you overcame, and something that you still need to overcome, or you're working on overcoming, or that you're kind of struggling with.
Well, I don't like being put on the spot. Well, one of the things that has gone well is that I've learned how to, I would say that I do pretty well with when I'm in the house. I've gotten pretty good about finding the right product with clients. I think my biggest obstacle is probably like a lot of everybody else on the phone, just making sure that we have enough appointments for the week.
Okay. So what do you think? What do you think stops you from having enough appointments for the week on the days that things don't go well? And what do you think helps you have enough appointments in the week when things are going well?
Just dialing, because I buy consistently anywhere between 100 to 150 leads a week. So okay. Just dialing, and sometimes they wear me out, especially if I've had a lot of hangups or whatever. So, but that's pretty much the gist of it, the crux of it. Just making sure that I'm making enough appointments, and being.
This is the time.
What's that?
So just so I can narrow it in a little bit, because some people on this call is their first time getting a look at the business. And then for some people on this call, they only been in the business for a month and they only ran in the field for 2 weeks or a week. So I kind of want to make sure that they can understand it. So just to keep it as clear cut for them as we can, is it fair to say, and you tell me if I'm wrong, don't let me take the narrative. On a good week, you might spend more hours on the phone versus on a bad week, you'll spend less hours. So for example, if your dial day is Monday, on a good week, you may dial from, 8 to 12 with very limited interruptions. Versus your second half of the day, you had to go pick up the kids, or you stopped and ate lunch and you had a longer lunch than you was expected, or you wandered on your phone and start looking at text messages for a little longer, watched a couple videos on YouTube, strolled on Instagram. It could be anything.
Well, I think for me is me getting distracted from, like you said, different activities, whether it be following up for different stuff with clients, or taking care of personal matters when really I should be like getting a late start. Like a couple of times I've gotten a late start, and I'd served to not do me well. So the biggest thing that I find is the best weeks are when I get an early start on the phone, and I have to really start anywhere between 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning. And so if I have any interruptions with that, that's what kind of throws me off sometimes, you know? And you can have a day where you get started at 9 o'clock and do well, but to really be consistent, I find that for me, you have to be on the phone early at 7:30 in the morning. Now, I did help a couple things happen this week. I helped one of my agents make his first sale. I spend a little time training him. I have a dialer that I hired. I spend a little time training them as well. So I lost time on the phone, but those are small little investments so that, you know, I can be, you know, more efficient. But other than that, that's my biggest thing, making sure that I don't allow distractions to get in the way for me dialing and being successful to make the appointments I want to make.
Okay, so bottom line, what I got from that is, like you said, 7:30, whatever distractions, it can be anything, it can be different ones,
Yeah.
always going to be some type of different distraction that may get there. But the gist of it is, when Grant's on the phone at 7:30 in the morning, his dial day is typically successful because he started his day out on the right path, and he's getting people before they go to work.
Right.
Just to put the gist to it, he's getting people before they get to work. Most people get to work around 9. So when you're calling people at 9 o'clock, they literally just sat at their desk. They're not answering their phone. Or they literally just started working in construction. They're not answering their phone. Or started driving. They're not answering their phone. But at 7:30, they're getting ready for work. So they're more typically answer the phone, and you're more quickly to get them off the phone so that you can book that appointment because they got to get ready for their day. But they'll answer their phone before work. People will answer their phone before work before they answer their phone while they're working. Right?
Right.
So that's what I got of that. Hey Corey, I just saw you. I don't know. I kind of want to pull you into this conversation, and I kind of want to piggyback a little bit on Grant, but then I also want to get your perspective on something else. Can you unmute for me? Or are you driving?
What you say? You were breaking up a little bit.
All right. No, I was saying that I kind of want to use you as an example, and then I kind of want to get some feedback on you as well. But I wanted to go into your schedule, right? And this is for everybody that's on this call, new, just getting into business, been in the business a while. We're all not where we want to be. We're always trying to get better. Even if we're somewhere where we're comfortable at, we got to get uncomfortable and get to a new height, right? Not for ourselves, but for the next person coming behind us. Because it's humble beginnings. We got to remain humble no matter how we get, and remember where we're trying to go and where we came from. So, Corey, for a new agent that's just coming into business, some people had their back against the wall. Some people on this call really, really need things to change in their life. What I mean by that is some people on this call, and I'm not talking about any one person. I don't even know none of you guys' situation. But I know some people that's getting in this business, $5,000 a week, $20,000 in a month, 20 families help, 5 families help, will change their financial situation. Will allow them to be able to get a little bit more comfortability, right?
Yeah.
So in order to help 20 families a month when you first get into the business, what does that look like? Because I can tell you what I remember about you. You told me that you needed this opportunity to change. I told you what you needed to do. You were in the office just like Grant said, 7:30. You made your first hour at 7:30. And typically you wouldn't be leaving the office till about 9. What was your mindset to be able to make you understand that you're gonna give it's either all or nothing?
Yeah, so my mindset, I mean, I probably got lost in time most of the time, to be honest with you. Like I probably never knew what time it was. Like my mindset was really like, I knew what time I needed to get started. It was work until you hit your goal, or until you can't dial anymore, whichever comes last. So if I hit my goal, One thing that worked for me, I was talking to Andre yesterday, and told one thing, and I told Chantel this, one thing that worked for me is like fear. Like, I don't like to think that like you got to be really good at this, or you got to be really like a people's person, or you got to just be skillful. I don't like to really think that way because I don't think I'm that type of person. Now, I've gained skills over time, but to start, I didn't start off with the skills. So if someone told me I need to book 7 to 8 appointments in a day, I'd go, well, I want to play the safe route. I want to have 10 appointments in a day, because the person who just told me to have 7 to 8 appointments in a day, they've been doing this for a while, so they must be good at this. I don't have the level of experience they have. So if I can just take what they told me and add a little bit more than necessary, then I should at least fall where their average is, or maybe fall above where your average is. But if they telling me a recipe for success and a formula and a system to follow, all I got to do is just do exactly what's necessary in order to follow the system. Maybe just add a little bit more on top of it. So leaving at 9 o'clock, sometimes almost 10 o'clock, wasn't a problem for me, because if you needed money and you wanted to get a job that was going to pay you $20 an hour and they told you to stay until 9 o'clock, you would stay, right? So it was kind of a no-brainer for me. So it wasn't really like rocket science or anything.
Okay. I mean, and that's kind of what I kind of want all of us to understand, right? Is when we get into this, we are business owners, right? But there's literally 4 quadrants, right? When you first start your business, you're starting off as self-employed. So don't get it mistaken that you are an employee. You're an employee of yourself. And employees have a schedule. Employees have a set time where they have to be to work and a set time when they get off. And if you don't work your work schedule, you're fired. Just period. So some of you guys need to fire yourself and then rehire the self that's going to help you reach your goals. What I mean by that is you need to really ask yourself, like, are you working full time, or is this the only job you have? Big difference. Because you could be working 20 hours in efficient ways and calling it full time because it's the only thing you do. And that leads me to my next person, because that's actually going to tie in perfectly. Is Charles? I see you on the call. If you can't put your face on the screen, could you at least unmute for me? And if we get Charles, when we get Charles on, Charles is been part-time since he came into business, which has been over a year. And he came straight out the gate. He just stepped off. All right, so, well, I wanted to use him as an example, but it's really simple. I'll still use him as an example, and then I'll ask a question for somebody else. If none of you guys have questions, drop in the chat. I'll call on another person, and then we'll kind of close it up. But yeah, Charles came in, and he told me from the beginning, he said, I don't want to do this full time because I'm a full-time minister. But I need to supplement income from doing Uber and other different things that I was doing for income. So I need this to generate a certain amount of income. We sat down, we put a number down, and I said, I think you should be able to help 20 families a month with your schedule. So we put a schedule together, and he stuck to that schedule. And Charles has consistently, throughout the last year, helped on average about 15 to 20 families a month, which allowed him to help close to over 200 families last year, part-time. That's more than some people did full-time throughout the year because they said this was their only job, so they think they were full-time. It's just about being efficient. So guys, when we're on the phones, we gotta be on the phones. Calvin, you said something earlier which is really good. You're tracking how many dials you're dialing an hour. Because if you have 150 leads, you need to ask yourself, in a dial day, did you dial that set of leads 3 separate times throughout the day? And if Grant's dialing his 150 leads 1 time throughout the day, and Rich Ann's dialing her set of 150 3 times throughout the day, there's no question why her results is different. Because some people are going to answer in the morning, some people want to answer in the afternoon, some people are going to answer in the evening. But if you're not efficiently tracking your dials, it took you from morning to evening to dial through 1 set of 150. So it's impossible for some of those people to get dialed in the morning, evening, and night. But you were here all day. So sometimes we're in the office and we're in the office from 9 to 6 o'clock at night. And we didn't even dial our 450 leads. Where the biggest thing is you can be efficient in your business, and you could have got here at 7:30, dialed through your 150 leads in 3 hours, 50 dials an hour. So 8:30, 9:30, 10:30. By 11 o'clock, you didn't dial your whole 50. Take a break. Jump back on the phones, do it again. Take a break, jump back on the phones, do it again. Be done. We finish your whole dial day by 6, 7. And if you're on a roll, there's times when Corey was done at 5. There's other times when Corey was done at 9. So that's another thing on Corey's mindset, where he says, until he reaches the number, whichever comes first. If 10 o'clock at night comes first, and he only have 10, so be it. But if he has 10 appointments for the next day, or 15 appointments for the next 2 days, by 5 o'clock, so be it, he's done. All right, guys, so I'm gonna kind of close the call here. I don't want to beat a dead horse, unless anybody has some questions on like in-home or something they're struggling with. I kind of don't want to beat a dead horse. I want to get us back on the phones. Any questions before we close it out? All right, we're gonna close it out. Let's make the rest of the dial day. Let's kind of get this this ship moving in the right way. We're already moving, but we just need a little bit more momentum. If we're working, we need to work a little bit harder, right? And we need to work a little bit more efficient, right? Because sometimes we want to work smarter, not harder. Makes no sense for us to be in the office till 9 o'clock if we're not dialing efficiently. So let's try to get a little bit more efficient. If anybody needs any help, reach out directly to me. Anybody that's new and have their license and have the writing numbers and haven't had a one-on-one with me, let's make that happen. Reach out to your upline, reach out to Genesis, reach out directly to me if you have my number. Let's get that one-on-one. All right, guys.